What's up, losers? Today I'm back with another r/fatlogic adventure, checking out a couple of intriguing posts, and trying my best to make sense of them. This is episode 90 in the fatlogic series, and I can't wait to immerse myself, once again, in the wonderful world of fat acceptance. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Hi, I was looking at your selfies. You are so beautiful. By the way, I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but I was wondering if you knew that posting selfies showing your stomach can cause ED in some people, like me. I completely understand if I sound rude. I just wanted to let you know, you should maybe think about this before you post selfies. Some of us can't control the fact we have a tummy.
God, this is obnoxious. Like, the absolute nerve of this person to use their own insecurities to try to tell other people which parts of their body they can and can't post. It's just unfreaking believable. Whether this person has an ED or not is really neither here nor there. You can't just go around telling people to cover themselves up or censor themselves on social media to protect you from unwanted feelings. If you are emotionally or psychologically vulnerable, then I can empathize with your struggle. But it is your responsibility to cultivate your own social media feed, not the responsibility of everyone else to refrain from posting anything that might upset you. Because the world does not revolve solely around you or your needs. It's just as simple as that. In addition to its content, I also find the tone of this post extremely aggravating. It's just so emotionally manipulative. From the opening compliment about how beautiful she is, to the "I'm sorry if this sounds rude," to the damn sad eyes emojis. Everything is deliberately designed to elicit as much sympathy as possible, and make the poster of the selfie feel guilty for doing nothing more than post a picture of herself online. But despite this person's best efforts, no amount of passive-aggressive flattery or use of emojis can change the fact that they are making a completely unreasonable demand of someone else, based purely on their own selfish desires. So in all honesty, I think I would prefer to see a little outright anger or hostility, because at least that would be honest. Right? If you think that someone should stifle their own self-expression to protect your feelings, you are not that person's friend. You are, for lack of a better word, a hater. And if you're going to be a hater, you might as well act like one. Because at least that way everyone will know where they stand. And we can dispense with this whole charade. Doesn't that sound nice?
Apparently there has been a study that shows that the tiny percentage of people who lose weight and keep it off are atypical anorexics. They dangerously self-starve. There is literally no healthy way to control your weight. It's the most static body metric, except for height.
Ha ha, wow. Isn't that convenient? They've got all their bases covered now. Even the people who actually do lose weight, and thereby contradict their assertion that weight loss is impossible, must just be anorexics. So they don't count. Fantastic. I feel like this post must have come about because no matter how much fat activists might like to shriek about the rate of diet failure, the existence of a sizable minority who do successfully lose weight and keep it off represents an inescapable problem, because it suggests that losing weight isn't actually impossible for anyone, and that the people who succeed where others fail might be doing something differently. In other words, it suggests that one's weight can be affected by diet and lifestyle choices, and is not simply an unchanging function of genetics. And this is a conclusion that fat activists will simply not accept under any circumstances, because telling a fat activist to take responsibility for their own actions is like pouring holy water on a vampire, haha. So I guess the point of this post is to eliminate successful dieters from consideration altogether, by labeling this entire group as self-starving atypical anorexics. and thereby demonize any and all diet practices they might have used to lose weight as disordered and dangerous, because if the only way to lose weight is to develop an eating disorder and starve yourself, staying fat must be the only responsible course of action. Of course, this is a load of rubbish. It's just not true that weight loss requires dangerous self-starving or disordered eating, and it's so transparently self-serving for fat activists to make this argument that I don't know how they can expect anyone to take them seriously. But I guess as long as they can discredit the achievements of their peers, continue to justify their own indolence, and stroke their own egos, maintaining touch with reality, and making any damn sense, become secondary concerns. Size, what a joke.
I hate when thin people are called fat, and their response is, I'm not fat, instead of, fat isn't bad, you're just reinforcing the oppression, discrimination, and stigmatization that fat people endure every single day, when you feel the need to assure the world that you're not one of us. Instead of picking apart a fat hate that you got to experience a freaking ounce of. Like, imagine if a white person was called black, and that person went, I'm not black, stop calling me that, look at how light my skin is. Instead of going, having dark skin isn't bad, stop stigmatizing darker skin and discriminating against people of color. Hashtag worthy thoughts. Hashtag fatphobia.
Okay, so, the first thing I'll say in response to this is, I do not think that it's funny, appropriate, or helpful to insult people for the way that they look, or shame them for being fat. Everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, and treating fat people with cruelty rather than compassion is not going to make them more likely to lose weight regardless. So I have no inclination to defend people who engage in such behavior. With that being said, though, I don't necessarily think that it's wrong to respond to being called fat. If you're not fat, by pointing out that this is not the case. Because if the other party is describing you in a way that is inaccurate, you are under no obligation to accept their framing of things. And it is understandable that you would want to set the record straight. There is, I admit, a right and a wrong way to do this. It's one thing to deny being fat, but it's another to deny it while putting other fat people down in the process. For example, if you say, ooh, no, I'm not fat, fat people are gross, that is you contributing to fat shaming in general. And it's not cool. But if you just say, no, I'm not fat, I'm at a healthy weight, that is a perfectly valid and acceptable response. And it does not make you complicit in the fat shaming that the other person is engaging in. As far as I'm concerned. Sure, it might be good to stand up to people who engage in fat shaming like this, and call them out on their shitty behavior. But you can't exactly expect people to say, fat isn't bad, when most people accept that, at least as far as one's health is concerned, fat is bad. So I think the most that one could reasonably expect from someone on the receiving end of this kind of treatment is that they put the other person in their place by calling them out on the general assholery, which I'm all for, haha. The last thing I'll say on this post is, can we just not with the comparisons to race? Like, being fat is not the same as being black. Our skin color is not something that we have any control over. And it's not something that we should want to exert any control over. At any rate, because unlike obesity, having a certain skin color is not unhealthy or damaging in any way. There's really no comparison to be made. And I'm sick of seeing fat activists try to leech off other social movements to lend credibility to their own much more tenuous societal critiques. Like, if you've got a point to make, it should be convincing in its own right. Is that really too much to ask for? Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed reading these posts with me, and hearing my responses to them. What do you think? Is it reasonable to ask other people to stop posting selfies because you're insecure about your tummy? Is everyone who loses weight and keeps it off a dangerously self-starving, atypical anorexic? Is it okay to deny that you are fat? If someone inaccurately describes you as fat, let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll post a selfie that includes my stomach, and you'll all be so intimidated by it that you'll be forced to delete all social media. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.